Hello YouTube, Sparty's BFF here, coming at you with a video about installing VirtualBox on your Windows machine. Now I already have it here, so let's go ahead. I'm going to show you though. You want to type in here VirtualBox, and there it is. Do a Google search, and here it is. Oracle VMware. Actually, it's not VMware, it's VirtualBox, but we're going to hit downloads. And if my internet would go, there we go. Now, I got a little confused when I first started doing this. When I was a younger IT guy and did not know as much, I did not understand what it was saying here. So it's talking about Windows host, OS X host, Linux host. What that means is the software is for the machine that will be hosting the VM. So we're going to install a Mint Linux distribution on the VirtualBox, but the host is going to be this Windows 10 machine. So we're going to download, you're going to click here, and that will let you download the Windows host version of VirtualBox. So all you have to do is click here, and then when it's done, once it is downloaded, there you go, and just save it. And then once it's downloaded, then just run your installation and you will be good to go. All right, now that we have VirtualBox installed, now we're going to set up our virtual machine. Again, this is one of those, when I first started doing this, there were a lot of details, and I've watched a few videos on guys explaining how to do this, and I want to try to demystify some of these things as I go through. So first of all, if you see right here this VTX, if you are getting errors that say that you can't install or it doesn't want to work, VirtualBox is giving you errors, then you've got to go into your BIOS and you have to actually enable virtualization and enable VTX. So depending on the machine you have, whether it says, some machines it's press escape during the boot up sequence, some it's F2, some it's delete. Just have to look. Normally on the splash screen when the computer is starting up, it says on it which key to push to go into setup. And once you get into setup, you're going to look for some kind of category that says something about CPU, and in there you should find something. If it's a new enough machine, any modern machine will be able to do that, and you'll turn on VTX, and you'll turn on the ability to have virtualization. So then once you have that worked out, we're going to hit new. Now I'm going to be using Linux Mint. I guess I should show you where I got that at. So let's see here. We're going to open up a new tab. And once we do, we will go to, let's use Opera. All right, so here's Opera. It remembers where we were last time. And we want Mint Linux. There we go, Mint Linux main page. Now you can download whatever flavor of Linux you want, but we're going to use Mint 18 Cinnamon. That's the one we're going to get. So if you go to downloads, and in my case, I wanted the 64-bit, and as you can see over here, I've already got it, the 64-bit Cinnamon. So you need to download that. If I were going to make a suggestion as to how to download it, I would recommend the torrent. It's way faster than trying to do it through your browser, but however you need to get it, pause the video, download that torrent, get it on there, or download this ISO of Cinnamon, and when you come back, we'll carry on. All right. Now that you've got that ISO and you're ready to install Linux Mint, let's click New. Now I'm going to type in here Mint, and immediately VirtualBox understands that it is it's Linux operating system, and it's going to say it's Ubuntu 64-bit because Mint is built on top of Ubuntu. So that's fine. We're going to leave it like that, and we're going to hit Next. Cannot create folder in the parent. Oh, I know why, because I already have a machine called Mint. So we're going to name this one Minty Fresh. There we go, Minty Fresh. Now it'll work. There we go. Now, I've got 16 mega RAM on this machine, and what it does is it automatically goes to the recommended memory size for Mint, and you can put it wherever you want. I would say though, unless you're doing something super heavy on it, you don't need to be overpowering this virtual machine. So I'm just going to give it 2. The poor little thing probably won't live very long. He's basically just a machine for educational purposes, and then his life will be over. But let's hit next. Okay, so now you have the option here. What do you want to do with a hard drive? Do not add a virtual hard drive, create a virtual hard drive, or use an existing virtual hard drive. We're going to create a virtual hard disk now if you don't have one. So we're going to click create. What kind of image do you want? The VirtualBox, the virtual hard disk, or a virtual machine disk? I always just leave it on the virtual disk image. If you need to export it later, it has a different format you can use. So hit next. And then it says, do you want a fixed size or dynamically allocated? I guess if you had limited space and you were worried about it overtaking too much space, you could use fixed size to make sure it doesn't grow too large, but dynamically allocated is nice because then you can start with it being slightly small and then it can grow if you need to later. So let's hit next. Now this is the part where you can start to mess some things up. So notice here it says it's given it 8 gig of RAM. I'd give it just a little more than that. I'm going to give it 19. Also right here you've got a file folder. So if you don't want to, if you're like I am and you have several drives and you don't want to have to, like I'm going to stick it in here. I've got a folder called VMs, and see I have Mint there, and I'm going to create a new folder real fast, and I'm just going to call it Minty Fresh. And there we go. And then I'm going to double click that. And then there, we're going to save it there. So this is the place where if you wanted to specify a different path, this is where you would do it. So let's create it. Boom. All right, now you might be tempted to be like, okay, I'm done, hit start, woohoo, let's go. But you're not quite ready yet. I don't know why it always kind of stops at this point, because you're really not even, you're not done. So now while we have Mini Fresh highlighted, you can either right click and click settings, or you can hit that big gear up there. It does the same thing. So let's click settings. All right, now we got to fine tune this guy. So under general, the first thing we're going to do is click advanced. Now this is where you can start getting some cool things. And again, when I was first starting, I feel like I didn't understand this and it wasn't pointed out to me, and I wish it would have been, because this is super cool. So this is shared clipboard. Well, heck yeah, I want a bidirectional shared clipboard. That means that if I copy and paste on my Windows desktop, I can paste it right into my virtual machine and not have to. So if I'm looking up something and I copy something and I want to paste it over in the VM, no problem. Drag and drop, same thing. Who wouldn't want to be able to drag and drop files back and forth between their VM? I guess. Now I will say this. I will say that there is, if you were using it as a security testing environment or some kind of sandbox, then yes, you might not want to have these on. But if you're just using it as like a development environment, that'd be great. So let's hit description. Okay, we don't need any of that. Go to system. So under system here, again, we could change the base memory if we wanted to. You got the floppy drive here, which we don't need. What we do want, let's see, everything there looks fine. Let's click processor. Now, if you have a beefier machine with a lot of CPUs, then you can give this VM more power. So if it was going to run something, this is where you would say, yeah, give it the power. That's where it would be. We're not. This poor little guy is going to be, he's not going to get any power. And then acceleration, those things should already be set, and we don't need to touch that. So there's that. Now let's go to display. I always turn the video memory all the way up, boom, to 128 immediately. Now in my case, I've got, as you can see from the video, I've got 7 monitors on this beast. And I've done it before. I can give the VM several monitors if I want to, but that's up to you. Again, you can allocate those, and it will use all the monitors if you want it to. Enabling 3D acceleration helps just to keep things moving, so I do that unless I get an error. Next, let's go to storage. Now, here's another thing that you need to know. So we're going to go here, and this is the what would be the virtual CD drive. We're going to click it, and then right here, if we click this little guy, he's not even marked that well, but if you click him, this is where you get the opportunity to say which ISO you want. So you can click here and choose your virtual disk drive. Here is Cinnamon, 64-bit. So we're going to click on it, and there we go. Now we're all ready to go, and now we're going to click OK. And now we have reached the moment of truth, and we are ready to click Start. I feel like we need, you know, crazy music. Do, 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 do. And kind of anticlimactic because it's just the automatic boot screen. So what we're really booting into here, if you're brand new to Linux and you don't know, what we're really doing is booting into a live environment. Most Linux distros have a system by which you have a live USB or a live disk, and it runs the operating system off of the USB, or in this case, off of the virtual DVD drive. So that's what we're going to get here, is this live operating system that it's going to boot up. And man, it's going to take its time. There we go. There it is, Linux Mint. Now, in our next video, now that we've got this machine running, we have success. We have a virtual machine. It's running in our Windows. It is Linux. The poor little guy here is like the Matrix. He doesn't know that he's not a real machine. We won't tell him. We'll let him think he's a real machine, but he's really not. He's just a virtual machine running inside another machine. In the next video, I will explain how to get rid of this running in software rendering mode that seems to be happening a lot lately when I've been trying to spin up Linux virtual machines. All right, thanks a lot for viewing. Please subscribe, comment, and we'll see you soon.